Hello, this is Roger Shouse, and this is Jumpstart Rewind. This is part of our Heaven Bound podcast family. Daniel chapter 3, verse 6. But whoever does not fall down and worship shall immediately be cast into the midst of a furnace of blazing fire. Our verse comes from the amazing account of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the Babylonian names given to the young Jewish men. Far from home in a land and culture so different from what they were accustomed to, these three learned some fast lessons. This could be college students away in a university. Could be a young couple who've moved states away and they begin their careers in their family. Here are three lessons that we need to quickly learn. First of all, not everyone is nice. They were not in Babylon on a field trip. They were taken against their will, captives, given Babylonian names that disgraced Jehovah, forced to eat food that they wouldn't eat, and now to bow down to an idol. Our verse shows that the decrees of Nebuchadnezzar the king: disobey and you will die. Not all teachers are nice. Not all people in positions of authority are nice. Not all bosses are nice. Not all neighbors are nice. Not only that, there are those who want you to join with them in doing wrong, and they are not nice. Evil loves company. This reminds us that we need to be careful who we call friends. We need to be careful about who and what we share our life with. Not everyone needs to know the details of your life. Not everyone can keep secrets. We need to be careful who we date and who we marry. You need someone who will help you on this journey to the Lord. Someone that you can talk to with spirituality and personally, and that they will be helpful. Second, not everything makes sense. Bowing to an idol of metal and created and fashioned by man doesn't make sense. It was lifeless. It cannot move. It cannot hear. It cannot speak. Why praise something that's lifeless? It really doesn't make sense. There are things that are just like that in life. They make no sense. We try to understand and be reasonable, but what people say sometimes just doesn't add up. It makes no sense. Evolution is like that. It makes no sense. How does life come from non-life? And if that can happen, why doesn't it continue to happen? It simply makes no sense. Sin doesn't make sense. A moment of fun for the price of your spiritual wellness, freedom, and future, that just doesn't make sense. Thirdly, not every choice is easy. It wasn't for these three Jewish boys. The right choice came with grave consequences. There are times when we must listen to our head and not our hearts. Our hearts get tangled up emotionally, and we can walk blindly into something that causes us heartache and trouble. There comes a time when you have to leave a situation, walk out of a movie, tell your date, take me home. Those are stressful moments, but they're driven by conviction and they're driven by faith. And for Shadrach and his two friends, Satan would have them believe that there was no other way. They had to bow down. Satan would have them believe that all those other people could not be wrong. Everyone was bowing but them. Could all those other people be wrong? Satan would have them believe that since they are wrong, a long way from home, no one would ever know. Just bow one time. It's hard to stand when everyone around you is bowing down. It's hard to stand when the safest thing to do is to bow down. The three had a deep spiritual conviction, and that conviction sees the principle above the person. Conviction sees principle above situation. Conviction will show you options when you think that there are no other options. A statistic revealed that 65% of high school graduates will lose their faith by the time they finish college. How did these three Jewish captives have the faith to do what was right? They believed from their heart. They learned what was right and became part of their spiritual DNA. Lessons learned. We need to learn them ourselves, and we need to teach them to others. Thank you so much for listening.